Hi and welcome to another video on European historical swordsmanship, or as we like to call historical fencing or historical European martial arts. We often get this question of, can you learn a martial art from a book or multiple books? Now, traditional wisdom would suggest no. Over the years we've had loads of sort of articles and stories over people trying to learn martial arts from books or sort of instructional DVDs or VHS, whatever else, and the general consensus has been no, you have to go and find an actual master, instructor, or whatever you want to call them. Now, with HEMA, or historical fencing, which is what we do, there are very few instructors still in some parts of the world. More and more all the time. So, a lot of the countries say in the UK you should be within 30 or 40 miles of an instructor at least. Even then, that's not close enough for some people. So what can you do? If you haven't got access to an instructor, are you at a dead end, or can you do something about it? Now, we've over the time we've been running the Academy of Historical Fencing, which is 9 years now as the actual AHF, and many years of practice of swordsmanship before that as a sort of a private members club. We've seen people come into it from other martial arts. We've seen people try and establish themselves just straight off from a book. So I think we've had quite a lot of experience of different approaches from different people across the world in different systems. So I'm going to give you my opinion on it, and hopefully that'll help some of you out there. First of all, obviously we've been putting out a lot of instructional videos over the last sort of few months, and that should help a lot of you as well, because no doubt it is a lot easier to learn from an ongoing system of videos than trying to go from original source material. But anyway, first of all, the age-old, can you actually learn from a book? And most people, when they would have done this over time, over the last sort of few decades, it'll be sort of Eastern martial arts or something like that, and they try and get a sort of a sort of martial arts for dummies type book and try and work through it. And that usually fails. Actually, like most self-help books, they tend to fail because, well, you haven't really got the sort of motivation to really work through them. You haven't got somebody to help you with them. It's difficult. However, with HEMA, we've seen a much more sort of dedicated and consistent approach to looking at these manuals, and we've seen how it can develop if you really do work at it over a length of time with a sort of group of like-minded people. So in terms of how we started, because most things that actually count as historical fencing or HEMA don't have a living lineage. So, well, how did we start? Well, the four of us who kind of really started the club off together had a lot of experience, many years in taekwondo, sport fencing, reenactment combat, kendo, kenjutsu, kali, eskrima stuff. So basically, when we came together, the four of us had a lot of martial arts experience and various other sports as well. So that gave us an immense head start, really. Even then, a lot of what we were doing quite early on, back in the 90s, was not that close to a lot of historical styles. It was competitive, yes. What we had to do is, as we got into the 2000s and more manuals came about, we were able to actually go back and get it more realistic and bring more sort of stuff into the repertoire from our actual historical sources. So that's how we really got going. However, that's not really representative of everyone that gets involved. A lot actually have that experience and plenty don't. And people come to us all the time, can I learn a martial art from a book? Well, the first thing is, it's very difficult. There's no doubt about it at all. But yes, it can be done. Now, you can't just, as a solo sort of trainer, start reading and be able to teach yourself the system from that book. No, you need at least a training partner, ideally several. Start some kind of study group, so you need a group together. Ideally, you do need an instructor. It will help an awful lot. What I'd say to that is, if you definitely don't have access to an instructor, or there's no way you can get access to an instructor, try and go to some of the big sort of national or international events. They're on in various countries throughout the year. At least you could get the odd weekend of high quality training in with good instructors. The other thing is, if there isn't any kind of a HEMA instructor near you, is find a similar sport or martial art that has a good instructor nearby that will teach you whatever they're doing, because there will be plenty of crossover. So for example, sport fencing, there's a lot of clubs that do sport fencing. That's a great foundation for an awful lot of HEMA. Certainly it's not all the same, but in terms of distance and timing and the assistance you're going to get from a coach or an instructor will be really beneficial. So, can you actually study and learn a system from a book? It's theoretically possible, yes. Still a lot of instructors around the world, particularly in systems that claim a lineage, whether they have one or not, will tell you no. And of course, the thing to bear in mind with that is plenty of them do actually have an agenda there. There is still an awful lot of professional martial arts clubs that, of course, rely on the fact that new students are turning up. So that is an issue. There is an agenda there. It doesn't mean they're wrong, but they do have an agenda. Is it beneficial to have an instructor? Without a doubt. You really do want one if at all possible. But for those people that say you haven't got access to a HEMA club, it's out of your distance, whatever else, you can still learn, but you need a mixture of different opponents, like-minded people. You need to be working through either original source material or interpreted stuff like our YouTube videos. There are books out there on the subject as well. And try and tap into any information you can possibly get on online forums, on YouTube accounts like this, and also big sort of events you can go to and learn from there. So can you learn from a book? Yes, you certainly can. It's very, very difficult. You really do want some kind of foundation or extra practice in other martial arts, whether you've already got it or you can do it on the side. That'll help an awful lot. So yes, it's theoretically possible, and if you're out there and thinking of trying to get into HEMA and you haven't got access to it, well, try. That's all I can say is go through the books, go through the interpretations, go through the original source material. A lot of it's out there for free online. Other books are available quite cheaply. Our YouTube channel is already covering the basics of sabre and longsword and soon to be rapier as well. There's a lot of source material out there that will help you. So I'd get dug in. You certainly can learn. Good luck.